Hello folks, welcome to another video. This time we're going to be rebuilding the rig. Now, I mentioned on a YouTube community post a couple of days ago that I was going to replace the bottom part of my rig with something a little bit beefier. So we've got this thing here, thicker 120/40 aluminium profile, and that's going to replace the bottom part of the rig. Now, so in order for me to do that, I've got to completely disassemble my rig, take down absolutely everything, disassemble my monitor stand because everything's going to be raised a little bit, so it's going to be a little bit tricky. But I thought I'd take you guys along with me for the ride. Now, apologies for the audio, I'm filming this on my new Sony a5100 camera. The audio is not great, but there's no facility to put in a microphone, so you're just going to have to put up with that for now. So let's have a look at the rig as it stands now. And the rig room, it's an absolute disgrace. I'll apologise in advance. So as we come in the door, we've got the treadmill that you can usually see in the background, the lad's telescope and my oval rim there. So these are the pictures that I put on the wall. I know the Nürburgring's not correct. I know it normally sits kind of that which way, I don't know, but it normally doesn't sit like that, but that's the only way I could fit it in the frame. And then I've got the usual suspects on here, and then a couple of nice little quotes that I've got down here, and that one there. So the rig, so as you can see, it's a mess. Look at this, you normally can't see this. I've even got a pair of socks there for some reason, and all this mess. Cables everywhere. Look at this absolute disgrace. So this is what we're going to replace. So it's the bottom part of the rig there, the 120/40 profile, and we're going to be swapping it with this stuff, that's 80/40, and this is 120/40. So we're going to be replacing the bottom part. But also we've got to replace obviously these parts here because I'm going to actually widen it. I think it's about 500mm wide at the moment, 550mm. We're going to be widening that to 600. I mean, look at the state of that. That is an absolute abomination. So this is the new seat that I got, the Sparco R333. I thought I'll give you a quick look at that while I'm here. And this is bit of skip barber action. That's what it's like in the ultra wide, just in case you wondered. Looks pretty good. So there's all this to take off: the steering wheel, the wheelbase, button boxes. I mean, look at that, folks. I've just dumped everything in the corner. There's my old boots. The power for the Accuforce, and there's my computer. iRacers Lounge. If you don't listen to the iRacers Lounge, get on there, have a listen, and a little sticker that somebody made us up. Skull Sim gear, thanks Chris. And then more mess. More and more mess. Right, so that's the plan. I don't know how it's going to work. The lighting may change because it might take me a day or two to get this done. So if the lighting changes, I apologise. Again, I'll apologise for the audio. It's not great, but it is what it is. And what I'll do, when I'm putting it all together, I'll measure every single bit and I'll put a list in the video description of everything that I've got on my rig. So if you wanted to, you could replicate it and build it yourself. So without further ado, let's start. After all that, we're just about in a position to start the disassembly for real now. Look at the state of my poor baby. Where's it all gone? Oh my word, look at the state of it. But there's no cables now, it looks a lot better. At least we can see exactly what we're doing now. So I was thinking of, I used to have the computer balanced up here on these mounts. There's the light there for the webcam. I used to have the computer balanced on there. But I'm actually thinking of putting the computer back on the ground. And look at the state of these things. Look at the dirt and grot down there. Oh my word. But we're getting there. It's all over there now. Mrs. Cam is not going to be happy if I don't get all this back to where I need it to be. So let's get on with the final part of disassembly. This is heavy. Jeez. Right. Monitor next. Right, so what I need to do with this monitor stand, as you can see, it's pretty basic when everything's off it, but I need to widen this to at least 100mm because the new rig is going to be 100mm wide, and then I've got to allow for these nuts on the side there. So we're probably going to be about 120mm wide, 130mm wide, just to make sure that we've got it right. So let's get on with that. First things first though, I've got to keep Mrs. Cam happy. Forgot to mention, I'm going to be replacing the feet on the monitor stand, so they're quite thin, so I'm just going to replace them with some 80/40 that used to be the monitor arms when I had the triples, so I'm going to replace those just to beef up the bottom as well. What I've got to be really careful of now is scratching this floor that we put down, because if I did that I'd literally be a dead man. So carefully does it with this part. There we go, that's one. So I don't know if you can see that, I put little rubber feet on the bottom of the rig. Just helps keep the floor nice and clean without scratching it. So we just need to transfer these onto this thicker bit of profile. So we've transferred the rubber feet from the other foot for the monitor stand onto this one. So all we need to do now is put it on here. There we go, that's it. There we go, that's one done. Right, monitor stand done. So I've widened it to 770mm. The the internal kind of gap to give me plenty of room for the rig, and also use one of these things on the side. Really handy, although that looks a little bit out there. So a few people have asked how I've got my Accuforce mounted to this piece of 120/40. Well, I've got a metal plate that the Accuforce is mounted to, and then there's 4 bolts just bolting it straight to my rig. So dead easy. So next job, take the wheel and wheelbase off. Oh God, it's heavy. So the next job is the seat. This is relatively straightforward. It's just 4 bolts, 2 at the front, 2 at the back, and the seat should just come straight off. And there we go. Should lift off. So the next job is taking the pedals off, and I've been dying to do this. Look at the state of those. They are disgusting. David, that's terrible. So we're going to get those off now, and we can start disassembling the rig. So this is how I've got my pedals mounted. So I've built a small little platform just to raise them up a little bit, but I'm probably going to lower them a little bit. So I've got 2 brackets at the front and 1 at the rear, the same to the side. So I'm just going to remove these brackets and then just lift the whole section out, because it's pointless taking the actual pedal plate off this if I'm just going to put it back the way it was. Done. Before I do any more, I'm having a coffee. Right, so now we've got the bare rig. So what we're going to do now is take off the wheel deck with about 1,000,000 bolts. So we'll take the wheel deck off. I've took some basic measurements of where it was before, so we can just put it back together. Then we can replace the actual base with this stuff that we've got there. And that's one beefy plate. Right, so that's it all undone now, so it should just lift off. We are going to be keeping these side parts to the wheel deck. The only thing we're going to replace is this section here, and we're going to replace it for one that's 600mm wide. I think these are 520mm. I've no idea why I made it 520mm. I'm sure I made it 600, but we didn't. So 520mm, so we'll replace these, but this should just lift off now. There we go. So that's what we need to undo the bolts from underneath, which should be pretty straightforward. I should just slide out of there now. There we go. So yes, so we want to keep these in the same position as they were, because that will mean then that our wheel deck is the same height as it was before, so which is where I like it. So we'll just leave this where they are now. We'll give this a bit of a clean up before we put it all back together. Right, so the next step is dismantling the old frame, retrieving all the T-nuts and brackets, because I need these to build the other ones. So let's get on with that. My rig. And just like that, the rig is no more. Right, so quick reset, quick brush up. We've retrieved all of the T-nuts and bolts and brackets, and we're going to start putting this on now. So this is the brand new 120/40 aluminium profile, which is going to form the basis of this rig. Now we need to put these things on now, the feet, so that's the first job. But don't worry, everything's going to be listed in the description. There's going to be a document there that you can download and have a look at, and every part for this rig, or the aluminium profile, is going to be listed so you can make your own based on my rig. So we'll put the feet on, hopefully 2-minute job. There's one. Hopefully the other one will go on as easy. There we go. You just need to knit these up now. So we're just putting 4 on the bottom, but there's none in the middle. There we go. Right, now we'll start to build the frame. Now if you haven't used aluminium profile before, we're using these things, which are T-nuts. Hopefully you can see that, I don't know if it's in focus. And then we've got the bolt, obviously, that goes inside. Now we're using these things to fasten the corners together. They're just little corner brackets, and they have little tabs on them there which lock into place. Now if you want to use these for something else, you know, if it's not for a 90-degree corner, you can just get a screwdriver in and click these tabs off, so you can then rotate them to wherever you want them. But these are really easy to fit. So I found the easiest way to do it is to put a bolt through first of all, and then just screw your T-nut on the back, and then slide that into place, and then the other part, this section, will then sit on there, and then this will then bolt up to that one. Simple. So we need to get this quite square, so we need the measurements, or we need the end, this part here, to be flush. So we're totally square, but I may well have to put 2 of these on each corner just to really tighten things up. There we go. One corner, we'll do the same with the other side. Right, I'll show you where we're at now. So what we've done, in the 4 corners we have put 2 brackets in each one. This one, the front, only one's needed there because there's going to be this section in there, and all the force is going to be going forwards with braking, so I don't need to brace those corners there, so I can save a couple of brackets there. I may well put some more strengthening there, may do, I don't know, it depends how much I've got left. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put these 2 bits in, and these are for the foot plate. So we can just move this cross member, cross beam, whatever you want to call it, up to nip against those 2, and then we can tighten everything up. Right, so I've put the railing for the foot plate. As you can see, it's a bit lower, 40mm exactly. The side rails are 120/40. Those bars across the middle there for the foot plate is 80/40. So it will drop the pedals down slightly, which is what I wanted. They will need some finer adjustment, but it's starting to look a little bit more like a rig. Right, now let's put the wheel deck on, I think. Right, so we'll install the wheel deck, and it was the other one, I think it was 50mm from the front, so it's around about there. So it wants to be the start of that being there, really, ish, somewhere around about there, but we can adjust it as we see fit, or as we need to, should I say. So we'll get this on, and we'll see where we are. Start looking a bit better then, I think. And then we've got the plate to put on the outside, but we'll do that side next, and then we can install the top wheel deck. So when it's done, that shall fit on there like so. All I need to do is tighten these, or put some T-nuts in this wheel deck, and tighten it all up. Job will be a good one. Right, so what have we done? Well, I've saved you the bother and I haven't make you watch me put all those in on that side and the same on the other side. I've only done them finger tight because we may need to move this wheel deck back or forward slightly depending on where we put the seat, but it's starting to take shape now. Right, so we've got the seat on. All we need to do now is make some adjustments to the wheel deck and the footplate. But the seat, I'm happy where the seat is. It is a little bit higher than it was, but I did add 40mm to the screen stand as well, the monitor stand, so that should raise everything up exactly the same, fingers crossed. Right, so we've skipped on a little bit out of necessity. The battery was going flat, so we have put the steering wheel on, tightened that up, we've nipped up all of these horrible little bolts, we've put the pedals on, although they need a really good clean. We've adjusted those, so hopefully they line up okay when I'm in the rig. What else have we done? That's about it. So it's looking a little bit better now. So all we need to do now is clean up these pedals because they are disgusting. Right, day 2, ran out of time yesterday, so this is where we're at right now. So the rig is built up, that's all ready to go. The next step is the 4th monitor, or the 2nd monitor really on this rig. I'm not going to mount the computer behind there now, the computer's going to sit down there somewhere. So I've saved a little bit of space at the back, but we need to mount something for the webcam and all the rest of it. But the next job, putting the 4th monitor on. So I have cheated a little bit and put the monitor on the mount. So this might not be the most or the best idea I've ever had because the weight of the monitor, but I'll try and hold it as best I can with one arm on my head. There we go. So that's in position now, but there's a big gap between the two screens, so I want to try and drop these side plates down a little bit just so it closes the gap there. That will do there, I think. I don't think we want any lower than that. So that's that job done. 4th monitor on. That's the angle it sits at, so it is quite extreme, but when you're sat in the rig it looks pretty okay when you look up. So I've just got these small angles there. Happy days. Right, now it's time for the rig shuffle. Right, that's in. We can now have a look at where we're going to put the webcam mounts and stuff. Right, so I don't normally have the wheel that far out. I normally have the wheel pushed right up to the screen. But I did have an issue last time with clearance of that monitor to try and get my ugly mug on the webcam. So we're going to have to just push the monitors back in a little bit further, which we can do now because we don't have the computer behind. So that solves that problem. Webcam, I think I'm maybe just going to sit it there, I think. Hopefully you can see that there. I'm going to have to come up with a solution to that if that doesn't work. But overall, I'm happy with the way that sits. It's a little bit wider, but I'm happy. But I've got all this rubbish now to go somewhere. Right, so now the bit that I hate, but I'm going to tackle it with the cup of coffee because it's time to put on some cables. I've put the the AccuForce power bank in there, or whatever you call it, power supply, and I'm just trying to think of where I can put the USB hub. I hate this bit. So that's what we've done. We've just put a bit of Velcro behind the USB hub. That's probably as good as it's going to get sitting there. I'll try and hide the cables as best I can, cable tie them to the rig and stuff. But that's as good as that's going to get, I think. Right, so what have we done? I have put an adapter on here. I need to tidy this up, obviously. Can you see it? Just behind. So it hides the power cable, so that's a little bit tidier than it was earlier on. A little bit better. God, it's slow going this. Jeez. I've had to skip a little bit because the battery's going flat again. So we've put the Aeologs shifters on this side. A bit higher than it was, but I quite like it. We can go a little bit wider so it clears the button box on the left hand side. And I've also, oh my word, put the shifter, the Thrustmaster, on this side. I don't know how that's going to work. I'm not used to it being on that side, but needs must. Need a bit of space on this side, and we can't fit all the shifters on one side. So Thrustmaster that side, Aeologs this side. Right, done. It's taken me 2 or 3 days to get done. Bit of a nightmare because I've been working as well, but it's finally done. I'm happy with the result. So I'll take you around the rig now. I'll tell you what I've done and give you a bit of an updated rig tour as well with the equipment that I'm using. Right, so we're coming. Treadmill, telescope, you've seen that in the background. Pictures on the walls, all the rest of it. So there's not a lot in the room. The doors need painted. That's my job for the next couple of days. So this is the rig. It doesn't look much different than it did before, but it feels a bit different than it did before, definitely. Big thing, I've moved the computer from up the top there down here. I'll just move that bin bag out of the way. So let's start on this side first. So headphones, I use the Logitech G533. I've had those for a while. All trusted headphones, work well, wireless, I like them. Cheapo keyboard. Computer, as I say, I've moved that from up there to down here. So it's inside, it's an Intel i7 9700K. Just run at stock speed. We've got 32 gig of Corsair Vengeance RAM, I think it is, 3200 megahertz, and a 1080 Ti, a solid state drive, and a bigger, I think it's a 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte hard drive just for throwing things on. Sound, so we've got the Yamaha MG 10XU mixer, a bit overkill, only because I wanted to use an XLR mic, which is an Audio Technica 2035. Like the microphone, not really happy about the way I've got it positioned there, so we need to come up with another solution there. So we've got my oval rim, so this has got a quick release on, so we'll just chuck that on there. It's more of a drift rim because it's dished, but it'll work for oval stuff. So the rig, so we replaced the bottom part with one 2040, widened it to 600mm. So it'll accept all kinds of the newer wheel decks and stuff like that. So this side we have the Aeologs sequential shifter and the Aeologs handbrake. Wheel, we have the AccuForce V1 wheelbase with a turn racing R20 wheel rim. I like that. There's the power supply for the AccuForce on that side. Right behind the AccuForce we have a dashboard by Sim Racing Hardware. I like that. Enough buttons on there to keep me going. But we've also got another button box here, which is by Skull Sim Gear. So there's 3 encoders on there, 3 rotary encoders, and a few other buttons with the iFlag built in though. That's the big thing for me, the iFlag. So I love that button box, and we've got my Stream Deck up there. Now down here we've got my Thrustmaster TH8A shifter. Again, bulletproof shifter, highly recommend one of those. My favourite bit of kit by far is my Husingveld Ultimate pedals. Love those things. Little table for my mouse, fan, Lighting, we have a newer NWER light panel, which you can adjust the colour temperature and the brightness with some dials on the back, so really like that thing. Good. We've got my Logitech Brio webcam, and we've got my Lemetric Time sub counter, but it does all kinds of other things, but I don't really use it like I should. Monitors, obviously we've got my 49-inch ultra wide, and we've got a 24-inch 60Hz panel just for looking at chat and OBS and all that kind of stuff. Boots, this is what I use. These are my Alpine Stars Sector boots. Really like those. Good boots, really stiff when I first bought them, but well, I didn't buy them, my other half bought them, but they've settled in now. And gloves, we have some custom gloves by a Brutesy Racewear. Really good gloves, like these. I used to have Alpine Stars F-Light before those. They were mountain bike gloves, and the Brutesy ones are much better. Right, so ultra wide, people have been asking for a view of that, so let's have a look at that now. So this is round about where I sit when I'm racing. So as you can see, there's plenty to see there. You can see right over to the just to the pillar on the right hand side, just so you can see the angle going up there. But there's definitely plenty to see, and what I like is I like to have a true representation of the wheel. So if you watch the wheel on the sim, when I go around the right hand turn, hopefully you should be able to see it match up pretty much with my wheel. So that's what I like. So I'm really happy with the ultra wide. You obviously can't beat triples for pure field of view, but as a good compromise, and if you do other stuff, and I do a lot of editing on here now and other games and stuff like that, so if you do other stuff, then the ultra wide is a cracking compromise. So there we go, thanks for joining me on this video. It's probably a bit long-winded, probably about half an hour over that, probably 40 minutes, but a few of you did ask for it, so here it is. Stripped down rebuild and a bit of a rig tour. Hope you enjoyed it. Cheers for watching, see you later.